Hello, my name is Chris Robinson with the Tabletop Gaming Guild, here to review The Witcher RPG from Untitled Games, written by Cody and Lisa Pondsmith, based on the prose of Andrzej Sapkowski. I am a very big fan of The Witcher. I'm also a very big fan of Untitled Games. I've always enjoyed their games quite a bit. And The Witcher is a great property between the TV shows, books, video games, what have you. Now it's a tabletop role-playing game, right? Let's take a look at things. Before we go any further, I want to put everyone's mind at ease. You only need 2 dice for this game. Just 2. A 6-sider and a 10-sider is all you actually need. So, all you gamers out there don't have to worry about buying a bunch of dice, right? Because we never like to buy more dice. No. I bought 10 packs. Anyway, let's dive in, then we'll come back. Once we go through some basics here, we'll come back and we'll do my final thoughts. And we'll take it from there. Creating your own character is pretty simple. This page lays it out pretty nice, but essentially you're just going to pick a race, run a life path, pick your profession, pick your statistics, select your pickup skills, get your coin, your gear, what have you, outfit yourself, and go from there. We're going to go through those steps here in a moment. I just want you to see this page. It's a very good breakdown of everything that's happening in there. Also, really great graph of who likes who and who gets along with who and who hates who down here between the races. I'm going to go forward. This is one of the most exciting things in this game right now, in my opinion. The life path. This fleshes out your character and your character's background incredibly well. It's just a few rolls of the dice, and as you walk through it, you get to discover your family's fate, your parents' fate, the status of your family, your most influential friend, siblings, number of siblings you have, what happened to them, how do they feel about you, death in siblings, life events. You can follow fortune or misfortune, allies and enemies, and romance. So you have a lot of opportunities to really engage with the story here. And one of my favorite things to do, and please don't pass this up if you play this game, when you run your backgrounds, don't do it at home by yourself. Wait till the group's together and roll your backgrounds as a group. Trust me on this. When you get a group together and you start rolling backgrounds, all of a sudden you start realizing that 2 of you have 3 siblings and you both have a sibling that died. That could draw you together. The more you start rolling, the more you start talking about what you got and how your character came about, all of a sudden your histories will just naturally start to weave themselves together. This is one of my favorite parts of this game. I enjoy it quite a bit. So please, if you're playing this game, take the time and roll your backgrounds as a group. Even if you do the rest of the character generation on your own, roll your backgrounds as a group. Trust me, it's worth it. So the next thing you do on your journey to creating a character of your own is choosing a profession. Your profession is not just what you do for a living, but it also provides you with the basic skill set and possessions for your character moving forward. Your job's not who you are, but it is what you are. Each profession has 5 parts. A defining skill, which is a unique skill that reflects the years of training experience that comes with this profession. Vigor, which is how much primal chaos you can use. Primal chaos is kind of the magical force behind things and whatnot that I'll get back into later, but your profession does decide how much vigor your character has. Magical perks, if you have a magical profession, you have some magical perks coming to you. Skill package, basically your general learning gained through your apprenticeship. So it might not be something directly related to your profession, but things that you were most likely around. It also chooses your starting gear, because you wouldn't be much of a smith if you didn't have a hammer, right? I should also note that in this game, a Witcher isn't just a race, it's also a profession. So if you are a Witcher, you are both a Witcher by race and by profession. And that's a very important thing to pick out. There is some gear and skills that only Witchers get, and you definitely do not want to overlook that. I'd like to point out, too, that priests and mages can only be chosen by humans and elves. Nobody else has the magical background to be able to choose them. So a run through of statistics for the game. Your basic statistics: intelligence, reflexes, dexterity, body, speed, luck, will, craft, and empathy. Those are ones that you can either roll for, or if your DM's kind enough to let you do the point buy system, you have your scales right here. An average game coming in at 60 points, a legendary game coming in at 80, and a few in between there. So coming down, you also have some derived statistics. These are not ones you roll for, that you get them from somewhere else in the game. Vigor we talked about before, that comes from your profession. That tells you how much chaos you can channel before you start taking damage, basically. Your run, basically you can run, each turn you can move your run value in meters. Pretty simple. You can also choose to take a full action to run, and you can run 3 times your run speed in meters, but that's the only thing you can do in that action if you do that. Stun is just what it sounds like. You're not trying to stun somebody else. That is how hard it is to stun you. Something slams you up against the wall, something like that. Are you gonna be stunned for a minute, or are you gonna be able to swing back right away? And there's a table for that too. Leap is basically exactly what it sounds. If you get a running start, how far can you jump? The thing you don't see coming is it's also used when you start climbing. Now we've come to the skill section of your character generation process. As I said before, your profession is going to decide a lot of the skills your character has. It'll give you 11 skills, which also includes your defining skill. Of those 11 skill points, you'll have 41 points to divvy up between them. You can't take any stat above 6 starting off, and they can't go above 10 anywhere throughout your course of the game. Now, racial modifiers can take you over that cap, but you can't do that on its own. Each skill is tied to one of your beginning statistics here, listed down here. And if you want to get an idea of what the different skill levels mean, right here, 1 or 2, you're pretty much inept. At 6, which is your starting cap, you're confident. 10 is your game cap, and that would be incredible. So 11 and 12 and 13, legendary and superheroic, those are for other things. So we're not going to worry about them during character generation right now, because you're not going to be seeing them. So when you're looking to use a skill, you're basically looking at one of 3 different areas. You're either opposing an antagonist, you're opposing a difficulty, or you're opposing your target's difficulty check. They're all pretty simple. If you're opposing an antagonist or another character or whatever, another living, breathing person, human being, monster, whatnot, you're going to roll and take what you roll and add the appropriate skill, and they're going to do the same. Whoever rolls higher succeeds, whoever rolls lower doesn't, and if there's a tie, then the defender wins. Opposing a difficulty is more for inanimate objects, or when you're not up against another intelligent creature of some sort. So there's a chart that'll help you decide the difficulty of things right on the next page here. Easy, you're looking at a difficulty check of 10, all the way up to nearly impossible, which would be 30. That's how you roll against a difficulty. That would be stuff like trying to pick a lock, or untie a really tricky knot, I would think, something like that. Opposing a target's difficulty check is basically kind of like halfway between them. Instead of rolling and having your antagonist roll against you, you're rolling against their ability or whatever directly. They're not rolling back at you. If that makes sense. Also, here's a fun little thing: critical rolls and critical fumbles. If you roll a 1 or a 10, your dice basically explodes. You get to roll it again. Now, if you roll a 10, then you add the second roll to the first roll, and if you roll a 10 again, you continually do that until you stop rolling 10s. You can get up to nearly impossible feats with that if you keep rolling well enough. Now, the 1 is obviously the opposite side of that. Rolling a 1 means you roll again, but you subtract whatever you roll from that. And in that one, if you roll a 10 again, you roll again and you keep subtracting off of that. So it's not as tricky as it sounds once you do it once or twice. It's pretty easy to pick up. Combat's pretty easy to go. It takes 1 or 2 combats to really get the flow of it down. It's not hard, it's not complicated. When you're reading through it the first time or two, it's going to seem a little overwhelming. Don't get overwhelmed. It's not hard, it's not that difficult. It's very similar to other fantasy games. It's just, actually, it's kind of simpler. I think that might have been why it took me like 3 reads to get through it. It's not difficult. Don't feel overwhelmed by it. Basically, initiative is just a d10 plus your reflex stat to decide who goes first. If 2 people tie, you roll another d10, and whoever rolls higher comes above the other person. So pretty straightforward. You go in initiative order, highest to lowest, and That's initiative. Each turn, you can do 2 actions or 1 action. Each turn, you can move your speed value in meters, and then you can take 1 action. Now, an action can be attacking, it can be verbal combat, which I didn't see that one coming. Verbal combat, very cool. You can cast magic, you can use a skill, or you can pick up a weapon, or draw a weapon, whatever the case may be. Now, there are also full round actions you can take in this game. That's the whole action. So it's not an action and a move, you're giving up something to do one thing for the entire round. That can be run. I mentioned that before. If you choose to run, you're just running. You're not swinging a sword, you're not picking something up on the way, you are running. Running does allow you to move 3 times your speed value, run value. 3 times your run value for the turn in meters. So it's worth it when you need to get out of there. You can actively dodge. If you actively dodge, you're spending your turn basically concentrating on being attacked and avoiding it. Anybody that attacks you that round suffers a negative 2 penalty. You also have aim. I like the aim mechanic in this game a lot. There's very seldom have I been able to find games that has an aim mechanic that I've actually been happy with. In this game, you take a full round to make your aim action, and you get a +1 on a ranged attack in the next turn, right? Simple. Doesn't sound like much. However, you can take an aim action up to 3 times and get up to a +3 to your shot. I like that. It's showing patience, you're biding your time, you're taking your time, and you're actually lining up the shot. I like that mechanic a lot. Then there's also recovery. If you're out of breath, you're winded, your stamina's down, you can take a turn to catch your breath, full round, and you will gain stamina back based on your recovery stat. Once again, when you're playing, that'll make a little bit more sense. There's a lot of things that you can spend stamina on to avoid or do or whatever, and just taking a turn to catch your breath gets your stamina back. So at least a little bit. It's worth it. You can actually spend 3 points of stamina to get an extra turn. Now that extra turn is going to be a -3 penalty, so make it worth it. That's about it for that's the basic overview of combat. There are probably 20 pages of stuff in here. I don't have time to go over it, and it's worth reading, honestly. So take your time. That's the gist of it. You'll pick it up, I have no doubt. Like I said, don't feel overwhelmed by it. Get through a combat or two and you'll understand. Once you swing the sword a couple times, it's going to come to you, I promise. Let's go to final thoughts. So, final thoughts. I read through this game. I enjoyed the read. I enjoyed the background. I'm going to tell you that not a small portion of this book is based on just telling you the history of the world. The opening parts of the book I mentioned before gives you a brief breakdown, but there is a pretty extensive history towards the middle of the book that tells you what you need to know. And there is a giant section in here for your Dungeon Master. That's all just Dungeon Master stuff. It's built in. And there is a group of monster stats in this book that a true Witcher would probably love to have their hands on. It's probably pretty similar to what they studied when they were first taking up the sword. So I'm not exaggerating either. It's beautiful. The artwork in this book is beautiful. I kind of made a joke the other day about this is a book you can judge by its cover. You absolutely can, because you know what you're getting. This is the artwork throughout the book. It is gorgeous. It is amazing. And it's The Witcher. And it's Untitled Chapter games. So you can very much judge this book by its cover. I feel safe in saying that. I'm very happy with the art. I'm very happy with the monster stats. It is a wealth of information. Even if you're not going to play the RPG, if you're not going to sit down with people at a table, which I don't know why you wouldn't, sit down with your friends. They're worth it. But even if you don't want to play the tabletop RPG, this is a wealth of knowledge of the Witcher world in one place. It would be if you didn't want to have to go back through all of your books or watch a bunch of episodes again. This is a great tabletop reference guide, you could say. Most RPGs really are if they're well written, and I like this one. That's about it. That's all I got to go. That's all I got to review. I kept it fairly short. I tried to keep it brief for you. If you have any questions, put them down below. Don't forget, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Talk to you later. For Tabletop Gaming Guild, I'm Chris Robinson.